What if I told you that it's not your conscious thoughts that shape your life, but the 95% of your mind that you don't even control? That's your subconscious. It's the part of you that decides how much money you make, the kind of relationships you attract, even the limits you secretly place on yourself. And here's the crazy part. You've been programmed since childhood with beliefs you never chose. So no matter how many times you say, "I want abundance," if your subconscious is tuned to lack, that's all you'll ever manifest. But here's the good news. Your subconscious can be reprogrammed. Just like changing the software on a phone, you can install new beliefs that actually align with the life you want. In this video, I'm going to show you manifestation techniques that aren't just woo-woo. They're practical tools to shift your subconscious mind so your inner world finally matches the outer reality you've been dreaming of. When people hear the words conscious and subconscious, it can sound abstract, like something from philosophy class. But think of it like this. Your conscious mind is the manual gear of your car, and your subconscious is the automatic transmission. The conscious mind is the part you're aware of right now. It's the voice in your head that says, "I need to focus," or "I should call my friend later." Neuroscientists estimate that this conscious awareness makes up only about 5% of your brain activity. It's slow, deliberate, logical, and it can only hold a few things at once, like juggling 2 or 3 balls. Now compare that to the subconscious. This is the automatic system that runs about 95% of your life. It's the mind that remembers how to walk, breathe, ride a bike, or even type without you thinking about each finger. The subconscious is like the background operating system of a computer. It runs programs installed years ago, usually when you were a child. Psychologists call this the imprint period. Between birth and around age 7, your brain operates mostly in theta waves, a deep, suggestible state, almost like hypnosis. That's when most of your subconscious beliefs are downloaded. Let me show you how physics can help us understand this. Think of the conscious mind like a flashlight. It can only shine on a small spot at a time, illuminating whatever you choose to focus on. But the subconscious is like the entire electric grid powering the city. Even if you're not paying attention to every light bulb, every refrigerator, every phone charging, the system is running. It's automatic energy flow. If the grid is programmed with low voltage, no matter how hard you point your flashlight, the whole city will still run dim. And this explains why you can say affirmations like, "I am rich, I am abundant," and still feel broke. Your conscious mind says the words, but your subconscious, the automatic mind, might still be running the old program. Money is scarce. I don't deserve it. Life is hard. And because 95% of your life is controlled by that automatic current, the old program wins. Science shows us the same thing in terms of habits and neural pathways. Every thought you repeat strengthens a neural circuit in your brain, like carving grooves in a path. The subconscious is the collection of these well-worn paths. That's why it feels easier to follow old habits than to start new ones. It's literally the path of least resistance. Physics calls this entropy. Systems naturally follow the path where the least energy is required. So unless you consciously choose and repeat new thoughts long enough, your subconscious will default to what's easy and familiar, even if it keeps you stuck. Here's another way to picture it. Your conscious mind is like the captain of a ship, and your subconscious is the crew. The captain gives commands, but if the crew has been trained for years to sail in one direction, it doesn't matter if the captain suddenly yells, "Turn right." The crew will keep sailing left until they're retrained. That's why many people feel frustrated, because consciously they want success, health, and happiness. But subconsciously, their crew is still running the old routes of fear, doubt, and limitation. This is why Bob Proctor used to say, most religious people pray positive, but feel negative. Their conscious words say, "God will provide," but their subconscious emotion feels fear. The two are out of alignment, and since the subconscious is the stronger current, it overrides the conscious. In physics terms, think resonance. If two frequencies clash, the stronger one dominates. Your subconscious frequency is always louder than your conscious whisper. So when we talk about manifestation techniques, the real secret isn't about forcing more positive conscious thoughts. It's about reprogramming the automatic mind so that the current running underneath matches what you want. Because when the subconscious and conscious finally align, that's when your thoughts, feelings, and actions harmonize, like tuning a guitar string until it vibrates perfectly. That's when you stop living frustrated, because your inner world and your outer actions are finally in sync. Jacob, in Genesis 30, wanted to build wealth through his flock. But instead of just relying on logic, he used a very unusual method. He peeled rods of poplar, hazel, and chestnut trees so that they showed white streaks. He then placed these rods in front of the watering troughs where the flocks came to drink and mate. What happened? The flocks that conceived in front of the rods gave birth to offspring that were streaked, speckled, and spotted. Exactly what Jacob intended. Now let's pause and ask, how did this happen? Was it magic? Was it coincidence? Or was Jacob tapping into a law of nature that modern science is only now beginning to rediscover? Think about it. The sheep were doing something biological, but their senses were engaged at the moment of conception. They saw the patterned rods in front of them. What they frequently saw, they unconsciously mirrored, and the result showed up in their offspring. That's not just livestock management. It's manifestation in its rawest, most physical form. This ties back to what I often say. What you frequently see becomes your frequency. The sheep conceived not based on logic, not based on chance, but based on what was imprinted into their awareness in a repetitive and emotionally charged state. In other words, they were programmed at the subconscious level by their environment. And here's the key. We humans are no different. The subconscious mind is like the sheep. It doesn't argue, it doesn't reason, it doesn't debate, it just accepts. When you constantly expose yourself to an image, a thought, or an environment, it eventually becomes part of your inner world. Just like the sheep conceived spotted and streaked offspring because of what they were repeatedly seeing, you conceive results in your life that match the images and ideas you allow into your subconscious. Science helps explain this. The brain has something called neuroplasticity. Your neural pathways literally change based on repeated experiences. Pair that with the reticular activating system, the brain's filter, and suddenly you're wired to notice, act on, and create more of what you constantly see. In physics terms, you could say it's resonance. Two vibrating frequencies eventually sync when they're in close proximity long enough. If you're always seeing lack, negativity, and failure, your inner frequency aligns with that, and your results match. If you repeatedly focus on abundance, opportunity, and vision, your subconscious accepts it as normal, and your outer world gradually conforms. Jacob's rods are a metaphor for modern life. What are the rods you're putting in front of your own eyes daily? Is it the endless scroll of negativity on social media? Is it bad news on the television? Or are you intentionally placing visions of abundance, faith, and purpose where your subconscious can't miss them? I'll take it even further. When the Bible says, faith comes by hearing, it's the same principle. What you repeatedly expose yourself to programs you. If you pray, but your daily inputs are fear, worry, and lack, you'll still manifest those things because that's what your subconscious is conceiving. Bob Proctor said it perfectly. Most people pray positive but feel negative, and the subconscious always follows the feeling, not just the words. So if Jacob's flocks could be programmed by vision, how much more can we who have consciousness, language, and the power of intention? Your subconscious is constantly conceiving. The question is, what are you letting it conceive? This is why vision boards work. This is why affirmations repeated daily begin to rewire your inner state. This is why changing your environment matters so much. Because like the sheep, you will give birth to what you constantly see, hear, and feel. Your results will look like your rods. And here's the challenge. Be intentional about what rods you're placing in front of your own mental watering trough. If you want different results, don't just pray for it. Program for it. Align your conscious thoughts with your subconscious frequency, because what you frequently see becomes your frequency, and your frequency dictates what you bring into being. Now, imagine if you used this same dynamic Jacob tapped into, but with awareness, with faith, and with modern understanding. Your inner world would finally align with your outer goals. Your subconscious would stop sabotaging you, and your conscious mind would stop fighting uphill battles. You'd live in harmony, like a guitar string tuned to the right note. And once that alignment happens, the life you want won't just be a dream. It will be conceived, birthed, and lived, just like Jacob's flocks multiplied in abundance. Most people approach manifestation from the wrong angle. They see it as a way to have more. The car, the house, the business, the money, the lifestyle. They fixate on the outer results, thinking if they just desire hard enough, the stuff will magically show up. But here's the hard truth. If the have isn't aligned with the do and the be, it cannot last, and often it cannot even come. It's like trying to hang a heavy painting on a paper wall. The vision may be beautiful, but without structure, it collapses. The structure of manifestation is built from the inside out, not the outside in. That's why be comes first, do comes second, and have is the natural result. Think about this. You can only do what you are. If your identity, your being, is rooted in fear, scarcity, or self-doubt, no matter how much doing you stack on top, it eventually cracks. You might hustle harder, take more action, or copy someone else's strategy, but if inside you still see yourself as broke, undeserving, or unworthy, your subconscious will sabotage you. Why? Because you cannot surpass your being by just doing more. Jim Rohn said it best, your income seldom exceeds your personal development. That's not just a motivational quote, it's a spiritual law, a subconscious law, and a natural law. The thermostat of your life is your being. You can try to crank up external results, but if your thermostat is set low inside, your results will always return to that level. Take wealth as an example. Many people want millions, but their inner identity still says, I'm just someone who struggles. So even if they get lucky, they'll mismanage it, overspend, or sabotage opportunities because their being isn't yet at the level of a wealth steward. That's why lottery winners often lose everything within a few years. It wasn't a money problem, it was a being problem. The same is true with relationships. Someone may want love, loyalty, and depth, but if their being is rooted in insecurity or unworthiness, their actions, how they communicate, how they show up, will reflect that. They'll attract people who mirror their inner state, not their outer wish list. And health works the same way. You can want a fit body, but if your being is still identified as lazy or undisciplined, your doing will keep breaking down. You'll quit the gym, binge eat, or procrastinate. So the question becomes, how do you upgrade the be? This is where awareness, prayer, meditation, and daily reprogramming come in. When you change your being, your doing naturally follows. You don't have to force it, it flows. A person who is disciplined doesn't struggle to do disciplined actions. They flow from identity. A person who is confident doesn't fake confidence. It radiates because their being is aligned. Think of it like a tree. The be is the root system, the do is the trunk and branches, and the have is the fruit. If the roots are weak, no amount of forcing the branches will produce lasting fruit. But if the roots are nourished, the fruit comes automatically. Now, here's why this principle is so powerful in manifestation. When you want to manifest higher results, wealth, relationships, health, you don't start with the fruit. You start with the root. You ask, who must I become for this result to be natural? If you want wealth, become someone who values knowledge, discipline, and stewardship. If you want great relationships, become someone who is whole, loving, and self-respecting. If you want health, become someone who identifies as strong, disciplined, and worthy of self-care. The thermostat of life, the real measure, is your being. And when your being levels up, you're doing matches and you're having follows. That's why manifestation isn't about sitting still and waiting. It's about aligning identity with vision. When you become the kind of person who naturally does the things required, the having is automatic. You don't chase, you attract. You don't force, you flow. This is why Myron Golden says the greatest leverage point is identity, and why Scripture emphasizes transformation of the inner man before the outer blessings come. Because if you try to have without becoming, it's like building a mansion on sand. It won't last, but when your being shifts, your world shifts. So let me challenge you here. Stop asking, what do I need to do to have that? Start asking, who do I need to be so that doing is natural and having is inevitable? That shift will change everything.